Hello everyone, welcome again in Eng-Man YouTube channel. So in this video, we will continue our learning on tNavigator. We will have another simulation case. And again, we will use a sample case from tNavigator. It's very generous of them to provide sample file for us to learn. And today's topic is about interactive tracer injection. Okay. And by the way, we can also use tracer by using keyword. And we have discussed about that in other series, in previous series. And now we will use, I think, a simpler method with interactive approach, all right, within the graphical user interface. Okay. So this is our case. All right, currently we are looking at two-dimensional map of pressure map, and we have the time slider here. Initially, we only have one well, and we can move. So we have several wells there. Okay, and let's say we can switch to porosity map, and you can click this one, grid lines. Okay, sometimes we need to see the grid lines, sometimes not. And usually we activate or we show the grid lines. For example, if we want to drill a new well so that we can know exactly where the grid is, okay? And I think it's also interesting. Sometimes we use contour lines like this. So it's like it makes the map more or seems more natural, okay? And you can also use grid lines or show contour lines, okay? So this kind of map with contour lines are the ones that our French geologists usually create. Okay. So this is the way if you want to show the map with contours in tNavigator. Contours, if you want to know the depth. Okay, so basically we are creating depth structure map here. Okay. And others, net to gross, porosity, permeability, and pressure, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to porosity and go to color by grid. And no, I don't want to see the contour lines, color by grid. This one, okay. And we will play with tracer, but first let's untick the aspect ratio. And yep, okay. So that's the first thing that we need to do. And then let's go to time step. For example, let's go to time step 32. So it's a very case specific. Okay, this is the sample. If we want to use the sample from tNavigator, we go to step 32. Why? Because in this time step, this well, okay, first converted from producer to injector. So if we go back to time step 31, the well is still a producer, but in time step 32, now the well becomes injector. You can also look at the letter, the first one, or time step 31, you can read there P and then BHP. So producer controlled by bottom hole pressure in time step 31. If we move, okay, the next month, time step 32, now the well becomes injector and controlled by bottom hole pressure. Okay. We can also activate the grid line so that we can know exactly where the grid is. Okay. And then, yeah. So now the well is an injector and I want to put tracer in this well. Okay. So I can right click, edit this one, edit well one. Okay. So the name, you cannot change the name. You still can change the status of each connection to each layer, okay? But the most important thing for us now is the control. Here we can set the tracer, okay? And take this one tracer and let's name as per default. The face is water underscore one, and we put the concentration of the tracer to be one. All right, and that's quite easy and safe or not. Okay, I think I need to show you the data first. Okay, I want to show you that there is actually nothing so special. The title, start, metric, okay, and then unified, oil, water, gas, this gas, okay. This gas is for saturated reservoir, and then implicit diamonds, tech teams, and so on and so forth. You don't see any keyword mentioning about tracer, right? I can also control F. Let's click tracer down or up, nothing. Okay, so there is no tracer keyword here originally. So as opposed to the previous case where we input the keyword of tracer. So I click tracers like here before in the previous video. But now we don't need to use the keyword. Okay. And what else? Files, the grid. This is the grid, nothing so special. And then schedule. In schedule, we usually find W tracer. You see, we don't see any W tracer. So we do not rely on keywording in this case, and that's okay. Okay, so now right click, edit well, control, tracer, save. Okay, and after we save, there is nothing changed so far. Okay, and then let's go to the next time step. It's now time step 35, I think. And we can also show the well names so that you can know. Okay, so now this is our well, and let's move to time step 35. Here we have well 34. Previously in time step 34, well 34 was still producer. Okay, here. And then in time step 35, the well now become an injector. Okay, and the same thing like what we did in well 1. Okay, we also want to change it, or we also want to put tracer. So right click, edit well 34, control, tick on tracer, and now this is the name, and the concentration of the tracer is 1, and save again. Okay, and then I think pretty much that's all. And yeah, we can go to the original time step and let's run. Okay, and you see now under calculated we have ASP flood and tracer, and now we have tracer 1 and tracer 34. Let me pause. Now we are currently at, time step 23. The well hasn't been converted into an injector, so there is no change right now. But later, you will see tracer injected from well 1 after the time step 32, when the well is converted to be an injector. Okay, let's continue. Let's wait until time step 32, 31, 32. Now you see, right? A change of color, and you can see the palette as well, the concentration of the tracer. At the same time, you can also show bubble map. Okay, you can look at the flow rate there. Okay, and this is the index, liquid rate, oil rate, and so on and so forth. If you want, if you want to see the bubble map, but if not, just untick and you see. This is your tracer. And we can also check the tracer from, well, injector 34 just by moving to this one. So we have tracer 1 and tracer 34. Very easy, right? And we can also create user map here. I want to know, I want to see both tracer 1 and tracer 34. So we use here tracer underscore water underscore 1. That's the keyword. Tracer, not the keyword, but that's how we type in the the code so that the navigator will understand. And then tracer underscore water and 34, and then click on apply to map, and you can see both. Okay, so tracer here usually indicates actually the water that is injected. Okay, so imagine that all the water that you inject, you put somehow tracer with concentration of 1 in that water, so that using this you can monitor the movement, the migration of your water, which is the tracer. Okay, so the water itself is the tracer. Okay, and then what else? We can also create profile. I think profile is useful here. Profile, or let's first make cross section. I want to see the difference between cross section and profile. Let's start our cross section from, well, this one, and just click this one, point selection to create cross section. You use this one, cross section, and then connect it to well 3, and then well 34, and lastly well 27, and close. And then here, go to cross section. Okay, so you can see the cross section here. And you can also untick the grid lines. So by looking at this, at the same time by looking at the time slider, you can estimate, or you can see the breakthrough time of each water from well 1 or well 34 to the adjacent producer. In this case, to producer 3 and to producer 27. So you can see water from well or injector 1 has broken through producer 3, and the same thing, water from well injector 34 has broken through, here, this inject this producer 3 as well as to producer 27. You can also show bubble map. That's for cross section, and you can see we cannot create the contour line here, but we can also create, go back to average. Now we create profile instead of cross section. Now profile, I want to start from again well 50, and then connect it to well 1, well 3, well 34, and lastly well 27. Click on apply, close, and then go to here profile. actually almost the same with cross section, but now you can create color by contour line, which somehow a little bit, if not significantly more beautiful than the coloring with grid, right? So it seems more natural, so to speak, and you can also create show boundaries or show contour lines, but it's not useful here. I think it's better. Okay, so you can actually use cross section or you can also use contour line. Okay, and what else? Actually, that's the most important thing, and surely it's not difficult, right? This is for what injector 1 only, injector 34 only, and both. Okay, and then all right, and then yeah, we can also go to, let me think. By the way, we can also use this one, right click, auto update. So yeah, the information will be updated based on the progress of the time. Okay, so it's like this, auto update. And we can also go to graphs and untick everything. Yeah, you already understand this one, right? But the one thing that I want to show you is the tracer. First, let's go to tracers here, untick everything. First, injector 1. Injector 1, you can expand this one, and show the tracer water 1 injection rate. This one. Of course, injector 1, inject tracer 1. But injector 1 doesn't inject tracer 34. That's why the value is 0. On the same way, okay, on the same way, if you go to injector 34, this will only inject tracer 34, right? Injector 34 only inject tracer 34. Injector 34 only inject tracer 34. But regarding breakthrough, now we move to producer. Producer 3. Producer 3 will produce water or tracer 1 as much as this. This is the profile. And so you can see that this is the breakthrough time that tracer 1 has broken through to producer 3. So this is the breakthrough time. And what about tracer 34? This one. Okay. And you can change the coloring here. Right click, graph preference. You can switch it to, for example, purple maybe, if you want, just for example. Okay. So this is the tracer 34 and tracer 1. Okay. And producer 27. Producer 27 is located close to producer or injector 34, but this one in producer 27, but it's far away from injector 1. So that's why you cannot see, or you see the tracer 1 is 0 because the tracer 1 has not broken through to the producer 27. Okay, so that's very easy. And if you go to files, you can see now we have user file. This user file is produced because we use the tracer in the graphical interface. So if you open this one, we have well track there, and then yeah, well track and well spec, right? And here, the tracer now is written, and the keyword is W tracer, like the one I said before. Okay, so W tracer there in each time step. All right, so you can use the tracer with keyword like the one I showed you in previous video, or like using this method. Let's see the schedule. The schedule is only like this. You can also put the W tracer here if you want in this schedule without using the, the user file. So you can put the W tracer here instead. Okay, so it depends on what you actually prefer. And lastly, we can also use user cut. So if we go to grid properties, user cut here, okay, and 3D, for example, user cut, let's type in map, okay, because we have created a user map and then greater than 0.1, okay, and then tick on this one, use cut. So now you cut your model. You just want to look at this, the area or the zone with map greater than 0.1. Okay, and what is map? Map is this one, tracer, tracer water 1 and plus tracer 34, and yep, this one. And cut without knowing the exact value, you just want to know the cut. So it's like this, but if you want to look at the value, it's like this. So these are the zones that have been swept by tracer 1 or water from injector 1 and tracer 34, which is water from injector 34. All right, very easy, but very useful, right? So I think we can call it a day. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this video is useful. Thank you so much for watching and see you again in the next tNavigator videos. Thank you.